All right, welcome back. This is JFG Afterglow, and I know we've been missing for a little while, but we have been busy, and we've been just planning for what we're going to talk about and different topics we want to cover. And we kind of had this one fall in our lap. Brother Isaac is joining us today, and he is going to be ministering at the church actually tomorrow, and so we thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to maybe talk with him a little bit and maybe ask him some questions and hear a little bit about his work. So I've got Brother Isaac here, and then Dad, Pastor Josh, right over here on the other side. He's here to make sure this doesn't get out of hand. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll just kind of go through. I've got a few questions, and then we'll just kind of see where the conversation leads us. Brother Isaac, if you'd like to just introduce yourself and then maybe your title, what you do, and so if anybody doesn't know who you are, they'll know now.
All right. Isaac. The other name is Bijeo. It might be hard to pronounce. I am a pastor. I live in Uganda as a missionary over there, and I am the national superintendent of Full Gospel Churches International in Uganda, and I run we have a church, and we have a school that we run in Uganda, and that's what we do.
Yeah, busy man, right?
Right.
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
So he's a pastor as well as over a school. Lots going on there. And Brother Isaac, how many times have you been to America? I know you've been over here several times now. Do you know?
I have been here, I think, 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted a little backstory. So for those that don't know, and Brother Isaac mentioned Full Gospel Churches International. It's a fellowship that our church belongs to, Joplin Full Gospel. And then Brother Isaac is the national president. Is that how you say it, right?
Yeah.
National president.
Superintendent,
right?
Yeah,
National
right.
Superintendent of Uganda. Mm-hmm. For Full Gospel Churches International. So that's really cool, and kind of a way we stay connected there. So the other day we had a convention. In fact, we just got back from our general convention, and Brother Isaac shared that there isn't a lot of second and third generation pastors in Uganda for the most part. Of their first generation ministers and pastors. So I wanted to maybe start off by just asking you about your testimony and how you came to know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and how that happened, and maybe a little bit of your upbringing or what that was like.
Okay, I got born again when I was young in elementary school, and I think I was around 14 when I got born again. But I was still in lower school because I started school when I was very old. I actually first entered in a class when I was 9. And that's when I started school, and that's when we started learning, because the school was quite far from where where we lived. So not many children could get that distance, because we were supposed to move 6 miles, walking 6 miles to get to the school. So that's why we went to school very late. And of course, even the culture there, everybody went to school late. So when I got born again, I joined a church where I was brought up. I ministered. After a short time, I was one of the kids ministering in the Sunday, the children's class. We call it the Sunday school. And then after that, when I was a youth, I became the youth leader in the church, and went on, finished high school, and started working for the government of Kenya, where I was born and raised. And then I've served the government for around 5 years. No, 7 years, sorry. And then I had the call of going to go and serve as a minister in the neighboring country of Uganda. So I had to resign from my work and go and serve God as a pastor and as a missionary in the nation of Uganda. So I've been there. the beginning of the ministry was quite tough because we didn't have any income at all. And we didn't have any support from anywhere. I mean, we just lived. We just trusted God to provide on a daily basis. But we all the time saw God, because even though a few days we spent without food, we always saw God working for us. So it was, I mean, we enjoyed doing it, though with a lot of struggle. And we went through a lot of struggle, starting the church from nowhere, nothing to rent a room. I mean, it was not a very easy thing. But by the grace of God, we went on, and we've been serving there for over 25 years now.
Wow. How old were you when you left working for the government? And
I was 31.
31?
Yes.
Wow. And so I didn't know this. You're originally from Kenya, and so you consider yourself a missionary to Uganda.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So did you believe or feel like you had the call of God to be a minister early in your youth, or did that come later on?
When I was in my youth, though I was ministering, I didn't actually imagine I would be a full-time minister.
Right.
And I didn't want to, because because I had seen some of those full-time ministers going through a lot of struggle. So that's not something that I wanted to do. I wanted to work and earn my living.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when God comes, I mean, you have to just say yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. So if you had not been a preacher, do you think that was kind of the career path you were headed on? Was working for your government, or for, I don't know what you were doing, but do you know, like, if that life had never happened and you never went to Uganda and never became a pastor, what do you think you would be doing right now?
One thing I know is I would never be where I am today. I would be miserable, I would think, because first of all, I was working for the government, and the salary was very little. Number two, as a Christian, I know this time, if you refuse to obey the word of God, of course, things are not going to be very good for you. So, and then number three, I see the people that you served with, the people who are in the same level in the place of work. When I look at them today, I say, well, that's not the kind of life I want to work. And number four, the way we were working for the government, I think we have lived to repent, because we were not very faithful in serving. I mean, we would get some days off without permission, and it was like the order of the day. I mean, I would feel like I don't want to get off, but it's like the government was not that strict toward me in the place of work. Neither was there enough work to keep me working from morning to evening.
Gotcha.
So it's like some days that you have to relax, and I was feeling like I want to be faithful, but there's not much to do. So I don't think I would be where I am today.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would be having the joy that I have today in serving the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So take me to that a little bit. When you begin to move to Uganda, you and your wife, I assume, together, and then do you just begin looking for people to preach? Do you move to a home and have people come home? How does that all start?
Brother Isaac, how many children did you have at this time?
By the time
when you moved to Uganda?
No, we didn't have a child. We were just newly married.
Okay.
Just newly married.
We were just newly married. We got married in 94 and 95. We went to Uganda, so we didn't have children. And
was your wife aware of that change, or was that like, hey, honey, by the way?
By the time we got married, I already had received the call, so I told her every detail that, well, if you are giving yourself to me, this is the kind of life you're going to live.
Just get ready.
Exciting.
It would have been exciting, but of course, we had observed others. And well, the beginning of ministry has never been that good in Africa. So, so I had to tell her, but she was also excited about it.
She must love you.
Yeah. She was excited about it. So we got to, leaving home was also not a very easy thing because my parents, all my brothers knew about ministry, and they knew that if you don't have any sponsorship from anywhere, you're going to go through a lot of suffering. So all of them discouraged me, including, I remember one of my, my uncle, the brother to my father, sat me down and told me, you have to reconsider. And he told me, and by that time I had gone for kind of survey in Uganda and come back, and told me, you can't go, you can't resign. We have been looking at you, you're one of the people who have been educated to take a job with the government. Now you can't leave that job like that and go and suffer like that. And then my brothers, my sisters, it's like nobody wanted me to go. But I had decided, I said, well, this is what I'm ready to do. So when I went to Uganda, it was not a very easy thing because those ones were always coming back. I mean, you're going to suffer. And literally we suffered. We went through a lot of suffering, but with joy, with a lot of joy. I mean, even though I would spend a night without food, we still were very comfortable saying, well, we know the Lord we serve is going to get us out of this.
Something about the peace of God.
Right. Yeah, we had the peace of God. And we continued. We started a church. Starting a church is another long story because when we got there, we didn't have money to do anything. And we didn't have, it just arrived, nothing. We don't have anything. And we don't have money to rent a place. But by the grace of God, we kept looking around for anywhere, anybody who can give us a room to start a church. Eventually, one of the ladies allowed us to start a church inside her sitting room, her house. So we started and gathered there some few people. Started with around 7 people in the church.
Yes.
Gathered some people, we started the church. And then after a while, we were able to put up a small structure outside. And there we went on. Yeah, and the church started trusting God in everything. And we went on with ministry. Now we are somewhere. Yeah.
How many do you run now, brother?
What?
How many people do you run now?
Right now we are around 70. The average attendance in the church is 70.
From 7 to 70.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Yeah. Of course, we have gone through challenges. The church is not that big. We have people with very big churches, but we are not a very big church. 70, the grown-ups. If you count the children, we could go to around 120.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the grown-ups are around 70. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, how long had you guys had the church going and been pastoring the church before you decided or felt like you needed to do something with the school? Because I know that's a big part of your ministry now. Has that always been in the plans, or was that something that you guys kind of felt God leading you to, and when did that happen?
Yeah, in 2001, we felt God leading us to start a church. And we didn't have resources, so we kept on trusting God and building it up. And we looking for a place where we could start because we couldn't start in the church. The church was not that big to start a school. And in 2011, it took quite a while, we started the school. We started in the school and started very simply with a very small structure and gathered the poorest in the community, in the school. Mm-hmm. And actually, that was our target. We wanted to minister to the children who were not able to, to other parents that could not afford school, or even some of the children who are actually orphans. So that's how we started. It was not to make money, but just to make sure that we minister to the community. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that started in 2011?
We started in 2011, we started putting up a structure. In 2012, we We got the first class since 2012, January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what's kind of the ages of the children that attend your school? You said that do they start later, or are they young to high school age?
They're starting because we start with what you would call in America preschool at the age of 3.
Wow.
Yeah, in Kampala, not like where I was, because where I was in Kenya, we used to walk a long distance.
Right.
But this is in the city. We are in the city. We are in one of the slums, the ghettos of the of the place. So there are many children there. So we start with the age of 3. But when we started, of course, because we were gathering children that did not have opportunities. With preschool, we started with people ranging from age 3 to 11. I mean, at 11, they're just coming to preschool because they had never. So the class was very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, they would sit and they are all learning to write the first letter. And some of them are very big, some of them are very small. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
And then how many grades do they go through?
What we call nursery, the preschool is 2 years. And then what we call primary, it goes for 7 years.
Okay.
Then after that, they graduate and they're supposed to go to high school.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. And so what's your involvement with the school? Do you oversee everything, or are you a teacher? How do you...
I don't teach, but I oversee everything.
Oversee
I'm the master of everything.
Master of everything.
Yeah.
That's quite a title.
But I don't teach. Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility. Is what that sounds like.
Yeah. We have teachers that are teaching in this school. Yeah.
And so that keeps you pretty busy throughout the days, right?
Quite busy because I have to attend to church, and most of the mornings I'm in the church, and then I have to drive to the school. We shifted the school from the original site and went some distance, 25 kilometers, not miles, but kilometers to the new site. So I have to leave, and almost every day I drive to the place to oversee various things.
Gotcha. And how many students do you have enrolled in your school right now?
Right now we have 176. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of mastering.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, you have 176 kids.
And so do you have, in the church or in the school, I guess, do you have like associates or helpers that kind of like work under you that can help with some of that? Or do you kind of oversee everything and have anybody that comes along and helps you?
In the church, we have various people who are ministering, volunteer ministers. They are not paid. Have people who minister in every department, and they are not always in charge. They are not full-time. I'm the only one who is full-time. Others are working, and they come over and help in a while. In the school, we have full-time workers. I mean, there is a teacher who is we call in Uganda is supposed to be the head teacher, who oversees most of the things in my absence, and also who is directly, I mean, all the teachers, all the staff are answerable to her, and then she is answerable to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so even when I'm not there, even today when I'm not there, she's still running.
So it's not
but
all,
I keep calling her, yeah.
It's not all falling apart while you're gone, right? Like
What?
it's not all falling apart while you're gone. It's still going okay even though you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still going on. Both the church and the school are going on very well.
Yeah.
I've been calling every now and then, so I know.
Yeah, making sure, right? Making sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you've kind of answered this, but my next question was kind of, what does a day in your life look like? So it sounds like you spend your mornings at the church, and then after that you're heading to the school to work?
Yes. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I get to church early, take some time there, maybe an hour, and then from there I drive to the school. Most of the time is taken by the school. And Wednesdays, I don't start with church. I have a fellowship of pastors. We have around 40 pastors that I attend to. I'm not the senior most person in that group. I'm the secretary, but I oversee almost every activity. And so this also keep calling me during the day. I mean, other times because we have various activities. So Monday, start with church. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then around 4, I get Thursday and Friday. I get back to the church because we have a midweek service on Thursday and a prayer meeting on Friday.
Okay.
And then Saturday, they are the singers who come and do the practices. But I'm not one of the singers.
Oh, okay.
I used to be when the church started. I was, of course, the master of everything. I would sing, preach, drum, do everything.
Do everything.
Yeah. But today I'm not one of the singers in the.
They don't let me sing either, Brother Isaac.
They don't let me sing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that sounds like you're pretty busy. So you have like a Sunday morning service at your church, and then Thursday evening,
Yes.
and then Friday prayer.
Yeah, we have on Sunday we have 2 services.
Okay.
Most of the churches in Uganda have 2 or 3 services. Some depending with the number. Ours, it's not because of the number, but because of the convenience of the people. Because the building that we have can easily contain all of us at the same time.
Okay.
But we realize there are people who cannot attend the service at 10. So we usually have a service starting at 8 to 10. It's attended by around 30 people. And then the second service is the rest of the members and the visitors, those who are not regular members. They usually come for the second service, which starts at 10 and ends at 1. That's kind of 3 hours. And then we break off. So we have a service on Thursday and 2 on Sunday.
Okay. And what's I'm sure there's similarities and differences. What's kind of the structure of a Sunday morning service at your church? What does if we were attending Sunday morning church, what would we?
We will start with worship and worship, and then usually we separate worship and praising, and then any other business like offering. If there are announcements to make, then the preacher takes approximately 1 hour.
Okay.
And then the second service is the same, but in the second service we have a longer period of praising.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it's 3 hours. The first one is 2 hours. The second one is 3 hours.
You guys let go on the second service then, huh?
Pardon?
Go wild on the second service.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So do you guys do communion, and do you do it?
Yes, we have
every week or every?
No, we
every
have
so
it
often?
every first Sunday of the month.
Okay,
So we have it 12 times a year.
gotcha.
Right.
And what do you guys use? Do you guys use like cracker and grape juice there? Is that what you're like?
Yeah,
what we do
something
here?
like that. But we are not
Something like
I mean, we just get to because I think we have not gone to that level where you can pack the way you pack. We just get to the stores and buy the crackers, and we come and break the way Jesus broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
We literally break it and yeah.
And when you're in service, does because I know for most churches in the United States, like a Sunday morning, kids will go somewhere else. Like we'll have their own class or service. Do you guys all stay together?
That's what we do too. We have a class where the kids go, and when they arrive, they just go straight there. They don't come to the main service. I mean the main building. They go straight, and their teachers were ministering to them over there. Usually, it's during the second service. Okay. Those kids that come with their parents in the first service, they come in and join us because we are not very many. They are like 30 people in the church. So they join us in the church, but they wait for their class to start at 10.
So, Dad, next time you have someone upset about how long you go, you say, "Hey, Isaac's youth, they're in class for 3 hours, so no, so no big deal, right?"
Yeah.
I think there's some kids that we think 3 minutes is too long with. No, I'm just kidding.
I think for us, the kids are the same, but we look for a way of occupying them. And then another thing we started, which was, I was kind of a pioneer in Kampala. I started serving porridge to the kids. And that actually, at one time, almost we had nowhere to keep the kids because they became too many. We were serving at around 80 kids in the morning. You could find the church is around, the church attendance is around 50, but we have 80 to 100 kids coming because we have porridge.
Yeah.
I mean, some would just come without their parents. Their parents do not even know where they are.
We call that donut day around here.
Yeah. So it was, but we used to like it. And then, but this time, because of schools, we encourage them to attend with the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you? I'm assuming you do the majority of the preaching, right?
Yes, I do.
And do you? Just curious. Do you kind of preach whatever God's laid on your heart? Do you plan out sermons? Preach through books of the Bible, or how do you normally go about with your sermons?
I preach as the leading of the Lord is on me, but usually I don't get to the pulpit without a prepared message. I pray in advance, get the message, and on Sunday I have something to present to the people.
Right.
I remember there's a preacher I knew who would just get to the pulpit, and sometimes he would stay there without anything. He would just start speaking from nowhere. I don't like that.
Oh boy.
I prepare all the same.
That sounds scary.
Yeah.
So what would you think is your favorite book of the Bible or your favorite scripture? You got one?
I don't know which one I would mention. I don't know which one I would mention because when I was young, Daniel, who used to be my role model. Mm-hmm. Daniel himself used to be my role model. So I used to study the book of Daniel almost every now and then. But this time, I don't know what I would say. I don't know where I would be. I have a scripture that I always quote about Jonathan when he said, God is not limited to save by many or by few. But really, it's something that always comes in me, but I don't think it's my favorite. I think love the whole Bible.
Yeah.
Clay, you wasn't there earlier. I asked Brother Isaac if he preaches out of the Old Testament, New Testament, and he says everything.
Yeah.
I said, well, that's a lot. It's the same here, same with me. So
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
No kidding.
And one other thing, you asked me whether I preach always. In the school, I don't always preach. Mm-hmm. We have a Sunday service every Sunday in the school.
Oh, okay.
And on Fridays, sometimes I miss the evening service in church and the prayer meeting, so I can preach to the children. But we have a service because we have most of the kids are staying in the school, so we have a service taking place every Sunday. That one I don't preach, but the head teacher used to be a minister in the church for all along, so she's the one who preaches there.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the kids are living in the school or living there?
Most of the kids are living in the school. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So now that you've been to the USA 4 or 5 times, you said, and you've been in many different churches, what do you think when you come here versus when you're at home? What's some big differences that you see right away that you're like, man, we don't do that, or this is different? Are there any things like that, or maybe the first time you came to America, was there some things that happened in church that It doesn't have to be bad or good, just things that you realized were really different.
As a number of things are different. Where I'm from Uganda, our singing is not English type, where we have to have the screen and people reading on the screen. I mean, people know we don't sing flowing, continuous songs. We have choruses. So everybody is excited and everybody sings at the same time. We don't have somebody just reading on the screen all the time. That's one of them. And you find there's a lot of dancing in our church, which I don't usually find in the churches in America.
Right.
It's a lot of dancing and a lot of fun during the praise and worship. I know when it comes to worship, I think it's pretty much the same. But when it comes to praising, I think it's more crazy over there. Then another that was strange to me, but very good. I loved it. I wanted to do it. Is the kitchen. You have a kitchen at the church. Something that I saw. In fact, almost every church I attended, there was a kitchen where you eat food after. Do you serve food every Sunday?
We don't. We'll have special Sundays or nights where we will have meals.
I've not seen a church in Uganda which has a kitchen. I mean, once in a while when we have functions or when we have conferences where we have to feed the people, we prepare for that, but we don't have a kitchen in the school. I mean, in the church. So that to me sounded strange.
Brother Isaac, we've never used ours. We're waiting to figure out what to do with it. We just have it.
No,
I'm just teasing. No, yeah.
Yeah, especially smaller churches is, everyone talks about potlucks.
Okay.
And so the kitchen, everyone come and bring your food. In fact, we just celebrated our church's anniversary and had a big meal after Sunday service. And everyone brings a dish, and then we have the kitchen and everything, and everybody comes over and eats after church.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's. I liked it. I went back. I said, I think the way you started serving the King's College, we could start this, but because I think it was too strange for me, and it could have been strange for the people, so I wasn't able to start. Yeah.
You say, I promise, this is really happening somewhere else. Yeah. Was there any other things that you saw or noticed as being pretty different, or?
The preaching, I think, is the same. I don't see any much difference with the preaching. Probably the days you've watched me preach, I could be preaching different, but I think it's me. I don't think there's any difference in the preaching. Nothing much really, nothing much more. Maybe the only other thing would be the buildings. The buildings, you have buildings that are soundproof, air conditions. I think I've already seen one church in Kampala which has an air-conditioned building. I mean, it's automatically air-conditioned.
Yeah, right.
Because the wind just blows. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing really much. Church, I think, is just the same.
I think that's pretty neat.
But
I think that's neat. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think you would say are some challenges as a pastor in Uganda you're facing, or that you face that maybe we don't know about, or maybe we don't face here, but some challenges that maybe you see or other pastors face in Uganda?
The obvious one is funds, because we rarely have. I mean, there are very few churches that can say have enough funds to run whatever program they are having, even if they are big churches. Because of course, the bigger the church is, the more the programs, the more the demands, the costs. Finances, that's one of them, but I think that's one. Otherwise, I don't think there is anything much, because the culture differs. For us, we are very comfortable walking to church. I see in America, you have more vehicles in the parking lot than the people in the church. In our place, you find a whole church with 2-3 vehicles. I mean, a church is full of people. There are only 3-4 vehicles in the outside there. So that's obvious because of the economic situation in the country. Otherwise, I don't see challenges are there, but mainly it's about economic. Yeah.
Brother Isaac has
Also, maybe probably, let me, before you ask, another thing, I don't know how much witchcraft and sorcery is in the U.S., but in Uganda we face a lot of opposition from sorcery and Islam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those two. A lot of opposition, resistance, and you find people don't, I mean, when you're calling to them to Christ, they are being pulled back by the culture of witchcraft and then the religion of Islam. You say something?
Yeah, I forgot.
It's
No, I was going to ask you if church attendance there has been affected a lot by COVID.
Yeah, it has been. People are not used to, being at home on Sunday. So they just found an avenue and they said, "Oh, we can stay at home even on Sunday." So many people when COVID, struck, actually dropped off. The attendance has gone down. In most of the churches, the attendance has gone down. Yeah.
I know when we have different things like that, and we got to visit with a lady that lives in Haiti, and that was one of the things she says was that witchcraft and sorcery were some things that they deal with a lot, and so I would say we deal with that some, but we also deal with a lot of which I don't know. It sounds like Uganda's more on the side of they're spiritual, and most people would accept that there is a God, and things like that. And so we have kind of a different branch where we joke, we don't even joke about it, but people will say along the lines of, yeah, there's God, but not really give any attention to the God of the Bible or even a God of other religions. And so there's just kind of a flippant belief in our country today, with no real depth or understanding beyond that. So I definitely see that there's probably some connection there. So when you
see, in Uganda, there is a serious belief on a God. It's only that because witchcraft is worship, and those who are in worship, and those who are in witchcraft, they are actually believing in a God. It's only that he's not the same God that we worship.
Right.
But they are believing, they have a very strong belief there is a God who works in witchcraft. And then those who are in Islam, the same story. They believe there is a God, though it's not the same God that we believe in. They believe in God. They are very... It's a very rare thing to see somebody who doesn't believe there is a God in Uganda. But it's only that they don't believe in the same God.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's interesting.
Do it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty American thing. But so if you were to kind of dream or cast vision for your future, what do you think about with the school and your church and with your ministry? What's kind of some of the things you're maybe thinking on in the future? What's going to be taking place, or what you maybe foresee going on even beyond you? What are some things that you hope for or have vision for in the future?
With the church, we have a vision of expansion. We are actually in the process and started expanding from one congregation to moving all over the country.
Okay.
We have started some branches. We already, our ministry right now has 2 more branches, way away from Kampala, and that's one of them. And also to grow them. One of the things in the convention, I was being challenged to actually to get involved more in growing the church, especially when we are in the men's conference. Brother Josh was sharing about how we look outside and ignore those. And I was feeling like, because being a pastor, because I'm not an evangelist, being a pastor, I think my calling is much more to grow these people and to ensure that they are mature, well-fed, and ready to go out. Mm-hmm. They're the ones to go out.
That's good.
That is one. And with the school, we are trusting God because we have a challenge. Our school is mainly for ministry. We want to minister to the kids. We started with the very poor people, but we want to minister to the kids and also the families, the parents, those who have parents, the relatives of those kids. And we've been seeing God working in that because we have seen kids give their life to Christ, and also we have seen the kids affect their parents. Many parents have given their lives to Christ. One particular one is a Muslim lady. The girl is 10 now. We have a girl who is 10 and a boy who is 8 in the school. And they led their Muslim mother to Christ. And she came and testified that she gave. Actually, they led their Muslim mother to Christ, and she is now serious in the church.
Wow.
2 others, they were Catholics. They gave their lives to Christ, and they are serious in the church. And when they come now, they just want to relate with us because we are in the same boat right now. But they got saved, and many others have given their lives to Christ. I'm just talking about these 3. But many others have given their lives to Christ. We have seen children of Muslims actually give their lives to Christ in the school. But the challenge we have is after they have done with primary level, when they are supposed to go to the high school, some of them, we don't know, we don't follow them up. So we have a plan of putting up high school so that you can keep them for 6 more years. And we believe if we get them into Christ from when they are starting school up to all those years, 9 years, the level where we are right now, because we have 2 in nursery, what we call nursery, which is preschool, and then 2 years, and then what we call primary, 7 years. If you go for 6 more years, I believe these people will be completely grounded in Christ. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we will not be worried of where they're going after we've gone. Mm-hmm. When we release them to go to the universities and the like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have a plan of, we are actually trusting God. We don't have the funds to do that, but to start, but we are trusting God. Very soon, probably next year, we'll be starting with the first class of high school.
Wow. Awesome. Do you have any, because I know you said you're using your school for ministry. Do you have pushback or when you said opposition? This was one thing I was thinking. If a child gives their life to Christ and their parents are Muslim, do you have to have some conflict there? Do the parents get upset, or do they understand?
Some actually get irritated to the extent that they pull out their children. But there are some few who are, I could say, they are liberal as far as the faith is concerned. And they allow them to, because last year we graduated 2 from one family who are sound Muslims. There we call a sect of Islam we call Tablighs. These are the very serious, but they were brought in because they had problems with witchcraft where they were. So they realized, the parent realized that if they bring them to our school, we can pray for them and they can go through this witchcraft issue. So when they came, God was on our side. We prayed and they recovered from all the effect of witchcraft. They were able to, the children were growing up, but they could sit in class and demons are speaking to them. You see them reacting funnily. So when we came, we prayed for them. They were able to finish and graduate. And this Muslim father actually came and said, "Me, I have not given my life to Christ, but I'm always waking them up on Sunday. You go to Sunday, but go to church."
Wow.
But he was telling us, on Friday he takes them to the mosque, but on Sunday he tells them to go to church. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. So, but when we met one of the kings just on the streets, he told us, "Well, Daddy takes us to the mosque, but the good thing, he allows us and sends us to church. So, me, I know I'm born again, but I would just want to be with Dad in the mosque for the sake of schooling." So, but we have, there are a few who are not comfortable with that. And also there are parents who say they can never give us children because they know, like in our services, all the kids come. And they don't want their kids to be involved in that kind of worship where a pastor is preaching and, yeah. So, but there are a number who don't have any problem giving us the kids. Yeah. In the school, we have almost as I haven't really observed the numbers, but they are almost like 1/3 of the kids in the school. The number of the kids in the school are Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, but when we are in the school, we don't force them to get saved. But
Right.
when we have a service, all of us have to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. So, would you say that where you're at and where the church is at, that is predominantly Muslim faith is the probably the priority, the number one faith around, or is Christianity pretty much in the minority as far as believers?
Where the church is predominantly a Muslim place. In fact, in Kampala, whenever you ask about Kawempe, they say that is a Muslim dominion. It's a place where Muslims are all over. And during the month of Ramadan, there is shouting from every corner. Every small corner of the place when they are worshiping in the morning. So there are very many there. But where the school is, they are there, but not as many as where the church is.
Gotcha. You have any other questions, Dad?
Not really.
All right. So my last one would just be, so we have a prayer focus every month, and this month was for you and for those in Uganda. So what would you say would be the top 5 things that you would want people to be praying about for your ministry?
Of course, we would want to pray for people to give their lives to Christ. That is number 1, because that's our biggest goal. Whether it's in the school or in the church, we want to see people give their lives to Christ. And that God may use us to bring more people to Christ. Then 2, the economy, like it's happening in most parts of the world, the economy is affecting the country seriously. It's one of the poor countries, and even raising food for the kids in the school is not an easy thing. So for God's provision to be able to run the existing school and also to expand. Like I've said, we are looking forward to expanding to high school. Yeah. Maybe if that answers the question. Yeah.
I guess I would like for, just because a lot of the audience that's going to hear this is Joplin Full Gospel. What are some areas, Brother Isaac, where Joplin Full Gospel has been able to help you guys? Some testimony of what we've been able to do with some of you, I know with you and Brother John even, and some of the things where we've contributed to and helped with.
Yes. One of the things is actually feeding the kids. We've been a special blessing in feeding those kids in the school. Also putting up some of the buildings. gospel, I mean, the church has been a great blessing. And whatever you said, it's actually like 100% goes to the ministry of the school. Taking care of the kids, feeding them, clothing them, because we provide uniforms. In America, you don't wear uniforms, but there we have to provide uniforms. And it's important because most of the parents, actually, the children will come with tattered clothes, so we want them to stay together. But you've been the church, Full Gospel Church International, Full Gospel Church Joplin has been a big blessing in feeding the children, mainly.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And we really appreciate that. God bless you for that.
I think I would speak for our congregation. It's a privilege because but I thought it would be good for the people to hear. This is one of the things that we do. We do support and
yeah, really, you've been a big blessing, and we always pray for you. We always the kids. Before COVID, we had a list on the wall of the friends. We used to call them Friends of Imani. Our school is known as Imani Junior School. Imani is the word for faith. It was started by faith. So we used to have a list of people whom we called the Friends of Imani, and you were topping the list.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was shortly before COVID. COVID interrupted so many things.
Yeah.
So we still pray, and every day when we are praying, and especially Friday, we pray for our friends. But we no longer follow that list this time. But we always pray for those people who are, because I'm always telling them that we have people who have been supporting us, especially in the U.S. Actually, we don't have any other support from anywhere else, but from the U.S.
Yeah, that's a beautiful portrait of God's people.
Yeah.
Because we think we're helping, and you guys are praying for us. And I got to go to the Mexico up in the mountains, and I thought it was so neat because they gathered every morning and prayed for us.
Right. Yeah.
And so as we're praying for you guys, and you're praying for us, and that's just God's people. That's awesome.
That's it.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess I'll just ask a pretty goofy one to end us. But since you've been here now for a few different times, what do you look for the most? What's like the number one meal that you want to have when you come to America?
Well, I don't think I am very specific on food, but whatever. Usually, I tell people back in Africa when Americans come here, we are specific. Our food may not be very palatable for their stomachs, but for us, when we come here, I've never had any problem with the food. I mean, whatever I find on the table is good for me. So I don't think there's anything that I miss. I just take everything.
We not to pick on Brother Isaac, but we get tickled sometimes. We were talking about this actually at dinner last night. We get tickled sometimes because Brother Isaac's like, we don't know what condiments go with what food sometimes. So you put stuff out and they're like, well, because we were laughing at Brother Isaac's not real heavy on condiments, but one of the other gentlemen that is. And I was like, well, he was putting ketchup on his taco. And we were like, what are you doing? And he's like, we don't know what to do with all these condiments.
Yeah, there are so many things. So, but we usually say, after all, they are going to mix in the stomach. So
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, this will definitely be coming out after you've spoke at our church, but we thank you so much for visiting us and for
the work you do.
for just the work you're doing and just the awesome partnership. We didn't really get to dive into it, but I know that you and even my grandparents go way back, and so now that Full Gospel Church International and just the different stuff, and then continuing that partnership, it's just been really cool to see. And so hopefully many more years to come. Right, and so and eventually maybe a few of us get to get down there and see all your work and all the things that you guys are doing. I know we want to, and so that will be awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for visiting with us and sharing. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to say?
Thank you. We're looking forward to having you back in Uganda so that you can see how we live so that we
Yeah.
don't have to give you stories.
You're probably like, I'm sick of telling people about it. Just come see.
Yeah,
Just
that's
come
it.
see.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.